Some new revelations about U.S. concessions to Iran. Previously secret documents show the Obama administration quietly lifted U.S. sanctions on 2 Iranian banks the exact same day that those 4 American hostages were released. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen has the story tonight from the White House. Good evening, James.
Britt, good evening. Here's how the State Department today explained how the Obama administration arrived at the decision to lift UN sanctions on Bank SEPA, Iran's oldest and 3rd richest bank, and one previously described by our own Treasury Department as the financial linchpin of Iran's ballistic missile program.
We conducted a very thorough review, in essence updating what we knew about Bank SEPA and whether they qualified. And it was our assessment that they did qualify. They were no longer carrying out actions that we believed were linked to or linked them to the ballistic missile program.
Key in the selling of the Iran nuclear deal 2 summers ago were assurances from senior U.S. officials that UN sanctions on entities related to Iran's ballistic missile program would continue to rein in that program, even if the nuclear deal didn't cover ballistic missiles. Those assurances sounded like this.
The sanctions on their arms trade, the sanctions on their acquisition of ballistic missile technology remain in place for many years to come under the UN.
Today, however, the Wall Street Journal reported that in January 2016, the same day that the U.S. paid $400 million in hard foreign currency to the regime and several U.S. hostages were set free from Iran, a top State Department official quietly signed a deal agreeing to allow the UN to lift its sanctions on Bank SEPA and on another Iranian bank 8 years ahead of the 2023 timetable that the nuclear deal set out. Since those UN sanctions came off in January, Iran's ballistic missile program has expanded aggressively with 4 confirmed tests. The chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee told Fox News Iran keeps changing the terms of the deal and the administration keeps, quote, getting rolled.
Iran not only made these demands at the end of the negotiation or after they completed the initial negotiation, but frankly, Iran continues to make additional demands and continues to violate the very agreement that the administration pushed.
And just as they say the $400 million in hard foreign currency was not ransom to secure the release of those hostages, aides to President Obama deny that this separate side deal involving the lifting of UN sanctions on Bank SEPA had anything to do with the release of those hostages, despite the fact that they all came together on the same day, January 17, one day after the formal implementation of the nuclear deal, Brett.
James, thank you very much. Let's turn now to former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Mr. Ambassador, what do you make of that?
Well, I think this is simply one more piece of evidence at how wretched this entire Iran nuclear deal is, how involved it is with many other aspects of objectionable Iranian behavior over the years, the capture of hostages, the development of ballistic missiles, whose unique and sole purpose is to be a delivery system for the nuclear weapons. And it shows that the Obama administration was prepared to pay essentially any price to get that deal. And that's what they did. And they kept it from Congress and the American public because they knew what the reaction would be.
The bank was associated with the financing of the nuclear program, right?
Well, and the ballistic missile
program,
yes.
More importantly, perhaps, or more clearly. You heard the State Department spokesman say, well, you know, we really looked into what that bank was up to, and we decided it was didn't really qualify to have sanctions on it anymore. What do you say about that argument?
Well, it certainly is a tribute to the FBI office in Tehran that they were able to get into the bank records and look at it. Look, this is also a demonstration that what the administration, the Bush administration, did the same thing called targeted sanctions, simply don't work. Let's say Bank SEPA was a financier for the ballistic missile program and they're sanctioned. What did the Iranians do? Say, gee, I guess we can't finance our ballistic missile program anymore? No, they used other vehicles. So in the past 3 years before the deal was implemented, was Bank SEPA involved in ballistic missile transactions? Maybe not, because they were using another vehicle. So to say that you've been fooled by the Iranians' ability to conceal their financial techniques, and you're going to now allow this bank legitimacy to get back into the international market, you might as well not have any sanctions at all as to have these targeted sanctions.